Educate, inspire, connect. Those are our values.
Let's give it up, a big, huge hand for our rock star of the evening, the creator of Sunfleet, Per Lanevik. All right, so just proving a point with the sharing card thing. Amazing entry plan, I think.
That was the first one, the pilot.
That's a pilot,
Yeah,
yeah.
the sharing many years ago.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. But I'm after.
Just one aftermath, not before. You know what?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll call him and talk about it.
Next time.
Yeah, you bet. So, by the way, before we dive in, right? How many has seen our crowdsourced interview thing here before? Couple, right? Okay, so everybody get your smartphones out. If you don't have a smartphone, you've heard me say this before, you need to get one. Don't come here. So in any case, slido.com, you get into the room with hashtag Startup Grind Gothenburg. Here you can post questions. As the interview goes on, you just post questions. Everybody else is going to go in there either on the app or on the web interface and vote for your favorite questions. At the end of the interview, we'll start on top. The question that gets the most votes will start and we'll talk about that. And then we can work our way down. Make sense? Slido, login, question, vote. Perfect. Amazing. All right. So Pat, now that everything is crystal clear, let's just start a little bit by talking about you, right? You as a person, how does your life look today? Private life, family situation, that kind of good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. No, I'm from Gothenburg. I lived here all my life. I have a family with 2 kids, just moving out now. One is going in 2 weeks to Australia for 1 year. Another person is going to Thailand for half a year for volunteering. So it's exciting.
Exciting times. And you've more or less always been a Gothenburg man, or have you been,
I've been abroad, lived abroad for some short times. I was working in Japan for 7 months,
right?
just outside Tsukuba, Tokyo Tsukuba, with the World Exhibition,
Right.
1985.
Yeah. We're going to see some of that.
Yeah,
later.
so we're going to see some there, and I've been in France as a ski guide for 1 season. And I stayed in Rome, studied in Italy, and stayed in Geneva, studied in France.
Perfect. So the thing is, because when we talked, right, we had a meeting before this, and you express yourself a lot like a traveler, right? You express yourself as your journey, your entrepreneurial journey. And one of the phrases that caught my mind was, "My journey as an entrepreneur has not been made through strategic choices, but rather catching the moments of possibilities." You seem to be coming back to that. This not having a very specific plan, but catching the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a sort of mindset. You can be that strategic one and know where you go and what you want to achieve. I'm not that kind of person, so I'm very curious and try to jump on when things will be an occasion, opportunity, and that has been my whole life. So that's why some strange things that we will talk about later on appears in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. and so where does that come from, you think?
absolutely not from my father. It was this classical, old school, big company, president, whatever. But from my mother, I think much more. They were very different. My father wanted to when going to vacation, he wanted to check in a nice hotel, perfect quality level, everything like that. And my mother wanted to say, no, just take a bag and then we go down to the harbor and see what's people working down there. Right. So it was totally mix between these two. But, so hopefully I have a mix of that too.
Very cool. All right, so to get into the conversation about the time before Sunfleet, yeah, it's an intrapreneurial conversation that's quite interesting.
So we bring actually a couple of nice photos.
Ali, I know you're new in Sweden. That's the king right there. And the young dude next to him is that dude. Looking all very, very, very happy with the king. What's going on there?
Yeah, it's an exciting moment. It was, as you said, I heard before, when I achieved the prize, and it was in a pre-UN conference with many different subjects. So it was in what do you call it? Stadshuset. So like Nobel Prize concept, where young people singing up the stairs and the golden area, and you sit around in table. But I was very humble because there were different subjects, and I was in that city future, sustainability, and so on. But around my table there were other prize winners in other subjects, like a person from Africa working with a water project in dangerous areas. It was from Colombia with sick young people, this clown, laugh for joy. So I was rather humble. I thought I'm not supposed to be here,
You were there.
Transport. We were there, everyone.
Because of the Sunfleet journey.
Yeah, so I was there because I was a winner for my concept Sunfleet. And I remember when I went up, because this is halfway up on the stairs you see on television, and I received the prize, and he said, you think you're going to be cool in that moment. But when he said, oh, this is nice, Swedish, interesting concept, I want to hear more about that. Do you have, tell this nice tagline or something? And what you say is, that's all I got. So that is a great moment.
But with a little bit of more words than just for all of us, right? What was the Sunfleet pitch?
The Sunfleet pitch was at that time the whole concept of Sunfleet. Now, if you are English-speaking people from UK here, I understand that car sharing is not the same. It's the same as car clubs in UK, because otherwise you get mixed up. But if you have this concept, it was when I started. I realized that you have to do the opposite. So the concept, the three core close solution I implemented was, first of all, I started with the business journeys, the business travelers, instead of the private users. Because the private users, you always have a problem because they don't use the cars during the week, but everybody needs it on Saturdays. You never get economy in that. You have to make more social business. You fix the car by yourself and lower the prices. So first was, okay, let's make this interesting for the business travelers between Monday and Friday, so they can pay and then you can add on the private users. And this, at that time, it didn't exist in the world at all.
Yeah, and we're talking about end 90s.
Yeah, you just ending up from the dinosaurs.
Right. Modern days.
Yeah.
And you got this idea that, well, how about we take mean, for God's sake, they call it telematics. Nobody calls it telematics anymore.
No.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
Where did it come from?
I think when I look back and say how did that happen, I think you have some specific lucky parts of it, because at that time you started to use mobile phone at all.
Right.
It was rather common to have it even in when you're working in the companies. So when I said why use a smart card and all that handling with the smart cards, why not use the mobile phone directly as the key for the cars? Because I realized very early that if you are supposed to, if you get the business traveler to accept to take the bus into the city, share cars with other people, you have to make it as close your own car as possible. Without your own, it's not your own car. So then you have the technique, and the mobile phone was rather common at that time, started to be. So they say, let's have that as a key. Yeah. And in that time, you have to make the car standalone, as you say. You have to make access to the car using that technique.
Right. Now, while I'm slightly smiling, we've got this amazing entrepreneur right here in the room, Jonas. You want to wave a little bit? Right, so he's got this kick-ass solution, Parakeet, where you brace yourself, you open locks with your smartphone.
Wow.
And it's amazing, right? It's super cool.
Yeah,
and we kind of did that.
Yeah. You're not supposed to say that we've done it before.
No, I think it's
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think it's
But now you're doing it from a smartphone instead from your dumb phone.
Yeah, that's the pitch. That's the pitch. Can you take the next one? And I just chose this one out of a deck of nice ones.
Okay.
Because it just makes me think about. This is from clearly when you establish a business.
Yeah.
And it's a Sunfleet trade fair booth.
Mm.
And my brain goes, no, why, with the disruption we talked about here, why has nothing happened in trade fair booths? It looks, I was in Stockholm Tech Fest, the coolest unicorn fabric, whatnot, for 2 weeks ago. Just like that. A little roll up and a little, so somebody here, smart person, disrupt that industry. A lot of money, like nobody's gonna. Now, that aside.
But I can add on that, because this is a kind of typical entrepreneur. You're almost alone at the beginning, you have no money, and you have to make this smart solution. At that time, I was helped by a company to fix everything so I could go by myself, but be rather, at that time, modern with the solutions. We had screens, we could connect the computer, and everything was, so I could go by trade with everything. So you have to be all the way, all the time.
It filled all functions in the company.
Yeah. You have to.
And then what I love about this photo is the phone that is, the super cool one. And it's maybe a little bit hard to see for Jonas in the back of there, but that's pretty much your iPhone, dude. But that was the key for the cars, right?
Yeah, that was the key for the car. As I said, you have to make this as close as your own car, and then you have to make it standalone, so you don't have to get the key from some reception or some area, which are just open between 8 and 5 during the days, because the business travelers arrive rather late or go very early. So you have to be, and then you have to make this technique, and that was the solution.
Yeah.
Struggling.
A whole lot. Well, okay, so let's put the next one. Let's see. Yeah, this one I just put up for kicks, to be honest, because I like the clothing. And what's striking, did you sell him the car?
No, that was.
Because that's what it looked like.
Yeah, it's really this is an amazing photo. This is. That's always typical. in the beginning you have to accept all customers. So this is a small community south of Borås. They wanted one car at this square in the community. And the problem was no one used it. So after 4 days, the battery for the car, because the telematic solution draws sound a little bit. At that time, a little bit. In the beginning, too much. So when suddenly some at Friday really wanted the car, the battery was dead. Every week. So I knew that. So I took my own car. So every Friday, I went my own car from Gothenburg down to this community south of Borås, out in the middle of nowhere, with an extra battery, and changed the battery just 1 hour before this only customer was supposed to use the car. But that's how you start, because if they are satisfied, you can use that as a reference. And you can't choose the nice customers in the beginning. You have to make these solutions. And just a reflection, when I speak to many people starting company today, they have rather high demands on who is supposed to use their business or buy something. And sometimes you have to be a little bit more humble in the beginning and say, okay, this is not a great customer, but it's a customer in the beginning, use that as a reference, and then move on.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I think we got one last one.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So this is pretty cool. Right? This is down in Gothenburg.
Yeah, talk about nice customers.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's going on there? So
This is Gustav Adolfstorg in the center of Gothenburg. I have won the procurement for the city of Gothenburg with the deal for the first time. And suddenly I went from this south of Borås to approximately 40 cars, 50 cars in the center. And we made this happening. So when we were supposed to activate these areas with different car sites, we had Anneli Hultén and I standing on a scene with a big dummy phone.
For, who's Anneli?
Anneli Hultén is, what do you call that? Is the city mayor, city chairman, woman. Ish.
Sorry for putting you on the spot.
Yeah, thank you. Or you could help me. Or the same.
That was a trap.
Yeah, thank you. So, and we make this happening. Standing on the scene, she got a so-called SMS. She answered the SMS, and we had 40 students sitting in each car. And when she sent this so-called SMS, everybody started to drive the cars away, and we make this a big happening. I think that's one thing is very important too, if you do new things like this, to take the opportunity to make it a happening, or so you can do something, you can make article, you can have whatever you want. Right. It's so important. And another reflection is that many good companies, good ideas which started to move is not that good in take the opportunity of make something of it when something happens. They are also so into the business.
Right. And do you think that was a specific part of your extra value add in the team that you were working with? Because you told me that you were really the consumer view guy, right? You were inventing all these solutions that technically there was no solution for.
Yeah.
So take us through that. What was the main innovations that you had to bring to the market in order to make that complicated but simple product in the end work?
Yeah. You have a challenge because the technique didn't exist at all. You have to start from the beginning and explain to a bunch of technical guys. I want to create this booking reservation system, and then next step, I want to make this car talk, as we said. Lucky me, I'm not interested in technique, but what the technique make is interesting. So I was this tough filter from the technology guys out to the reality, so to speak. And at that time, also at the dinosaur time, you were not that used. You didn't have any smartphones. You didn't have any laptops. So it was it's very uncommon to use this except for just make a phone call to your family.
Right.
So the communities, the employees of the companies, you have to educate them to resend a text message and so on. And so each little small development in the technique, I had to reflect, or analyze, will this be a problem for the common user? And since I was a common user, I could just go to myself.
Right. And then, so for example, you mentioned also you wanted to attack the business segment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you had to flip the model to do that. And you said, so you gotta get the feeling that it's like your car. And how did you come to that point? Was that the first moment, or is that 4 years later you kind of figured, yeah, that's how I would describe it?
At that time, when I opened up the business, before working with Hertz, Rent-A-Car, as a sales and marketing director for the western part.
Yeah.
So I had this understanding of how to rent a car. And car sharing is a sort of rent a car, but by hour. So it was very obvious, if I'm going down from, because this big company's car rental business, you have very high cost of maintenance and so on, because it's perfect level, everything when you sit in them, and you have to pay for 24 hours
Right.
at least. So it was very obvious, if you then go down to people rent this for 1 hour, it's impossible to have the same human maintenance.
Right.
It has to be made by the customer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you directly go into, okay, then we need technique. And we didn't have technique, okay, I have to develop that.
And how did you then go about identifying this telematics solution that would actually open the phone,
As I said, it was 2 steps. First of all, it was a reservation system. It didn't exist at that time.
Right.
You serve the car through a website, and the next.
So how did you solve it?
We had to develop that.
So it was you developed a web page for it,
Yeah.
or was it an Excel sheet?
Yeah.
Or?
I started, thinking, how do I want to have this as a customer?
Right.
What do I need? I need to find the cars. I have to have this kind of by hour. I have to have reservation. I have to have a confirmation. But you still only have a website. The main challenge was when you then say, now we have to take the car key away from the customer. It has to be still in the car.
Right.
And the telematic solution, I got advice that there was a company called Pilotfish Networks in Gothenburg. They had just implemented the first telematic solution in all Volvo Ocean Race yachts. That you suddenly could follow the sailing boats all over the world where they were.
Right.
And that was the first time. So why not implement that kind of solution in the car?
Right.
Because you need to have where are the car, how far has it done, and so on.
And that's quite fascinating, right? Because that's the meeting of the opportunities, and because you didn't plan that. Volvo and the ocean race thing. You're working at Hertz.
Exactly.
You can't plan that.
No, you can't plan that. And lucky, you know, if we add on the last one for the very specific Sunfleet concept was, I decided directly to have only environmentally friendly cars. And that was a challenge
At that time.
at that time.
So your first cars were electrical vehicles, right?
Yes, electrical vehicles. The Renault El Clio went 70 kilometers.
And again,
But not 70 kilometers with full speed, because after 50 kilometers, when the battery was going to die, the car itself went down to 30 kilometers per hour. That was high speed. So I decided, well, I had to try this one. I had to try it by myself and see how far they go, what will happen. So I went in the city of Gothenburg, and I went home to my place, and I didn't get all the way home. So I realized, I'm not coming home. I have to stop somewhere and add on some electricity, a little bit safe. So I find what you call that, a hamburger place.
yeah.
So I stand outside with this contact in the kitchen.
Right.
Contact and standing there for 1 hour. Then okay, now I can get home.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so again, what year is this? That?
This is 2000, 2001.
So this is why Elon Musk needs to just be one ahead of you on that list. Because he needs to, as he did before, listen on this one, and then he can sit on the stage.
Yeah.
Because it took him, what, about 12, 13 more years to get his electrical vehicles into the market.
Exactly.
Makes full sense. Well, okay, before we just jump into the break, just would love to get your sense now, fast forwarding to 2015, right? And do you have a particular feeling or sense of direction about where the sharing economy is going in terms of you got your Uber, you got your Airbnb, you got some tax legislation issues, you got all types of problems in New York City. What's your thoughts on the sharing economy?
Sharing economy, of course, is one of the big things coming. And it's coming from under and not from above.
Right.
That I think is the big force when it's growing from under, and you have people often from the beginning not doing this for business, because for passion or for convincing that we have to do like this.
Right.
Whatever it is, you share. So I think that's a big challenge for the existing big companies in different areas,
Right.
to understand, do we have to adapt, or are we going to die, or where are we going? And it often it happens very quickly, because you don't see it from under,
Right.
until suddenly you're on the radar. And then it's almost too late to, okay, we do this also, you just don't know.
Right.
So whatever you can use, if it's between private users, or is it in restaurants, or is it in transport, whatever you can.
Do you have a gut feeling, a sense of an area, of a next disruption, or a recommendation for the entrepreneurs here? Something?
No, it's a secret.
You got your own. So anybody talk with Pat later? He's got something cooking, that's for sure. All right. So we're going to soon head into a break.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to wrap a little bit up, and then we come back. Before the break, though,
Yeah.
funny you mentioned your daughter is going to Australia. I want to take the opportunity to fade into something that we've done before, and Philip's going to help me. And you want to take one of the mics, open mic, and I want to where we kind of just put the spotlight on you guys, right, and how you can help each other. But I just want to start with a person that I personally know now since a full week almost. But just a great person, Ali. Would you mind standing up, Ali, so everybody sees you? This is Ali. So Ali, she just moved in from New Zealand to Gothenburg, out of all the places of the world. She is excellent in marketing, project management, product development, project management. Just a super nice person, yeah, and can help. And we talked about this. She could help startups with marketing, the English side. She's amazing. From the UK, lived in New Zealand for a bunch of years, and she's right here, new in town, and she needs business now. I don't mean let's have a meeting and then you can take a look at my webpage. I mean business now, right? So she's just great with that, communications. And I was just wondering by raising hands, are there any startups here that feel that they would need to improve their English presence online? We got one going on right there. Abby, you want to take a look at these? You all remember her face, and she's promised to make a good deal for startups because she knows that we're struggling. So we want to make sure that she gets a full order by the evening is closed. And with that, Philip, you may.
All right. So this is a concept we've done once before over in Lindholm when Derek was here. It's pretty much an American style thing. So we call it open mic. It's an opportunity for you guys to present yourselves, your name, what you do, and what you can help others with really quickly. So one sentence each. So if I start, I say, my name is Philip. I run a startup called Metapic, and we help connect bloggers and e-commerce sites. I can help you by teaching you about bloggers, and I can give you the mic.
Who's next?
Who's next? All right, great.
Hello, I'm Nick. I'm studying computer science here. I'm an exchange student from New York. And I can help you develop anything. I also have a startup for virtual reality called Enhanced VR back home, but it's still very young.
That's good. Next.
Anyone?
Come on, Swedish people, push through.
Hello, my name is Moisés Rodriguez. I do entertaining business, mostly for kids and families. I could do, if you need a puppet for your company or whatever, I can make that with autopropylene material, with recycled materials. And I also have a startup, and it's going on, but it's very young.
Cool. All right. Awesome.
Hello, my name is Christian. I'm a consultant, working with my own consulting firm. Actually, a wireless car now at Lindholm. So, telematics. I'm looking for developers who know Java or Angular. So if you know anyone or if you are good at that, so come in.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Simon. I'm actually here from Venture Cup, but I would like you to promote my startup. We are bootstrapping, and we are right now doing consultancy within anything you would like to develop regarding mobile. So if you have a project, like a small or a big one, we could definitely have a talk after you. Thank you.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Peter. I'm from Entrepreneurial High. Entrepreneurial High is a co-working space in the middle of Gothenburg. What we can help you with is we have a voluntary community host program. So if you want experience and want to meet a lot of entrepreneurs, you can apply to our program, and you will get coaching and also get a chance to start up your own business.
Awesome. Yes.
Hi, my name is Katarina Brunette. I run a PR company working and focusing on sustainability communications and CSR communications. I can help you with media contacts and how to communicate your sustainable values in your company, and also how to look good with your brand, right?
My name is Andrea, and I work as a lawyer. So if you need any legal advice, you should come to us. I'm here with Elin today. We're from Johnson Marine.
Right.
Philip and Jonas and other people in here, and we specialize in startup law. So if you need any help, you should come to us.
All right. Yes, no,
I work with a company website called Entrepreneurial, which is built on sharing economy, where people can share their boats, their mobile homes, and caravans. And we are in a phase now, so we are in a need for more developers and market communication in order to go outside Sweden. So I'm here to look for contacts.
Perfect. Anyone else?
What's up? I'm Luca. I'm from Gothenburg. I'm studying mechanical engineering at Chalmers, but 1 year in California changed my mind. So now I want to become an entrepreneur or work in marketing. So if you want a hungry and passionate guy, here I am. And also, I'm doing an internship at a centralized solar power company. So we should, yeah, really. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Marielle. I have a marketing and PR agency, and I help companies from Sweden market to the US. So us PR girls should talk afterwards and see how we can work together, maybe.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you so much. I didn't expect that kind of reaction. You are so un-Swedish. All right. I think it's great.
So, to start off the second session of that evening, I wanted to kind of, start talking about what you have on your plate currently, and start moving into that. And I love the name because so I wanted, before you say it, I want to see if you click the next thing. So we got, that's okay. So this is the name of Per's company. Yeah, that's what is on his business card. And I would like, and you all go, what is that? The name, right? And so one of the Gothenburg people, who's got the good Gothenburg, yeah? Could you please really out loud read that? I'm going to come with Mike. You just hold it to your cheek like this. You just read that. Read it borsta.
Canblinot.
Isn't that the most amazing Gothenburg name? I love the name. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Sometimes it's wonderful to see sometimes Canblinot. Baguette? No.
Exactly. That was French.
It's very international.
That was so fun. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. Taken a shower in Japanese TV. Can you tell me about that?
I worked in, as I said before, I worked for 7 months in Japan with this World Exhibition, and worked at the Swedish Pavilion. We were 25 persons there.
Mm-hmm. And so, can we click the photo up as well? Because I think you can mention that at the same time, within the same conversation. Yeah, technology rocks.
This photo?
Yeah.
I don't think it works yet.
Yeah, well, otherwise that's okay.
Whatever.
So we got a Japanese dude over there.
Japanese, and of course, if you are representative for the country of Sweden, you are invited to do some strange stuff. So suddenly I was approached by this television team and said, we have selected you to be part of a television show, which are shown all over Japan, and there are rather many people there. Okay, what are we going to do? Yeah, we want to visit you where you live, where you stay here in Japan, and we went to the house. And lucky for me, nobody has any tape on this one, but there I had to make some exercise in the garden. Could you please just have your swimsuits on you? Okay, do that. And I have, of course, my friend from Japan was, make this interpretation.
Interpreter,
Yeah, interpreter. Yeah, and she was just lying laughing all the time. And then they said, could we take some film when you take a shower? Okay. So you have to understand the culture because they have that kind of interest in this strange things. So I have to stand there in the shower, with the soup and everything like this. Of course, I have my swim trousers on me, but the rest I had the soup and everything, and they were everywhere. And behind them there was this Japanese woman lying, just laughing totally out loud. And then they did all these things, and you make some interview, and then I was invited to be a part of the big Sunday evening show, where they showed this movie, and they had suddenly 10 Japanese girls, and they tried to marry me away in chaos of everything, and just standing there, so I'm not feeling comfortable anymore. But it's amazing, it's a great memory.
You got two things there. Like, one, first of all, you're so lucky that was pre-YouTube times. Because nobody would have shown that right here. And second of all, which camera is on right now, Philip? Is that one on? Yeah. Okay. To Startup Grind Tokyo, whoever is the director there, if you can hook me up with a copy of that tape, that'd be great. Just saying. I owe you one. All right.
So the picture
go
on the left there, that was another nice occasion. That is the person who was the emperor at that time, still, just 2 years before he died. That is the person who initiated the attack for Pearl Harbor.
That dude right there, the great photo, of course.
So that was the emperor. And he was suddenly decided to visit the site of the Swedish pavilion. 1 week before, we were commanded into a special conference room where they had one Japanese woman who was the educator of the Emperor Bao. Depends on, if you're better than the other person, you do like this. If you're under the other person, you go and you continue down to 90 degrees to the emperor. That's the only one. So for 1 day, we had to practice that bow.
Could you show us
the problem is, I was, my nickname was the dying giraffe. Because, and of course I have to shoot it. I didn't do the right thing, so I did like this. You can see him on a picture when he's passing by us, like this. So this is nice, but I have to say, it's a rather strong movement to just be in front of that person when you read about it in the history books.
Yeah.
He's the guy who did this with the Pearl Harbor. And he was, at that time, he was the god, because he had to, when they, the Hiroshima bombs, and they surrendered.
Right.
The first thing that the American country did was to force him to go out in the radio, all over broadcasting, and say, sorry, I'm not your god.
Right.
Because they still thought that. That's why they had this plane moving down because for them it wasn't a problem.
Right.
So that was the first time the Japanese people said, "Wow, we didn't know that."
Yeah.
Super interesting. A dying job.
Yeah, that nickname may stick. Now it's gonna get on YouTube, by the way.
Can I tell you another one? This is a great one.
Yeah, I would love to.
We had this, each pavilion from each country had one day which was, Swedish day, Danish day, Japanese day, whatever.
Yeah.
But the Swedish day, of course, we have big, partner companies, and SAS flew down enormous Swedish smörgåsbord.
Okay.
And then all the big companies, which are Swedish, Ericsson, SKF, whatever, invited the top level of all the Japanese companies, Mr. Mitsubishi, or Mr. Tayano, or Mr. Toyota, or whatever. And the highest guys came. The problem is that their body can't take care of liquor as we can.
Right.
Due to the genetic.
Yep.
The other part is, or at least at that time, it is very nice to show that you are drunk, because that you are that important, so you are allowed to drink on representatives.
Right.
So after two hours, you have this perfect suits, everything, the highest of Ojaba, lying in the corner, totally well. We have to carry them around and put them there. Okay, leave you for 2 hours. There was no shame. It's okay. Because they took, the snaps instead of the sake. So what is chaos? Total chaos.
The best deal ever, right?
Yeah. Right. Yes, sign here, please.
You're like, how about the sharing card thing?
Yeah, sign here, please.
Oh, that's amazing. So, but we got to talk about the other dude on the other panel as well. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, when I was a kid at the dinosaur town, the guy, this is Buzz Aldrin. The problem is it's number 2, it's not number 1 on the moon, so it's number 2. Yeah. So sorry for that. But our summer house was neighbor to Victor Hasselblad's summer house, whose cameras took the picture for on the moon. So after they arrived in the States, just a couple of weeks after that, they went to Sweden and they wanted to visit their friend Victor Hasselblad. And our house was just outside, and I was a small kid, and of course I was standing there just waiting. You can imagine, this guy has been on the moon. So at that time I met him. So it was a nice memory too. So I'm just surrounded with emperors and astronauts and Sam. Yeah, those 3.
Yeah, you kind of making me feel not this big right now.
Vote for Sam now for the social entrepreneur.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Word. Thank you so much. All right, that is amazing. Yeah. Sorry for me barging up, but this is a fireside chat. We are in my living room, and that's my window, and it's making noise. So you gotta take care of that. Let's fade into the juicy parts. We can flip back to Slido, please. You keep pushing those good questions and votes. We're going to continue for just a second more with the fun stuff, but kind of going into the brilliance and despair part of the conversation. Because you've had some failure moments as an entrepreneur for sure. No, not even one. But just as a fun one, let's start with the good one about Sunfleet you told me.
With the car and walking around in the city.
Amazingly fun.
Yeah. The problem is with new technique is that it's new, and you are in a hurry and you make this first test, and then of course you go into the reality. And I got this in the beginning, a company in Gothenburg, and I had this big brand marks on the cars, and I put it outside, and they were very hilarious to use this. But suddenly, and this was a Toyota Prius when they arrived, and they're very closed inside with this electrical. You don't go there by yourself into the system.
High voltage stuff. You
Yeah.
die.
And I got a phone call the first days and said it doesn't work. We can't open the car. Okay, I went down. He said, strange, it's dead. The battery. Okay, we changed we thought we could change the battery, but we realized, okay, it's a Toyota Prius. We had to put it on, this, what do you call it?
Yeah, tow trucks.
Yeah, tow trucks. So suddenly, on this tow truck, and they have to go through the city to this place, Toyota, to change it there.
Right, and it stops.
And back again. And after 2 days, it doesn't work. And then we continue. So my first experience of no good branding was these cars just going around in the city, not by themselves, but all these two cars.
Sunfleet.
Yeah, some big cars like this. Whatever you do, don't use these cars. And then we realized, of course, this was, the first sample of the telematic solution, and they hadn't thought of they drain out the battery too much.
Power leak.
Yeah, the power leak. So there you have the first one.
Yeah, you can see Ali with her marketing skills is going cool. Yeah, okay. So, but let's move then to, if you can kind of collect one of those real bad days. That's like, what's the worst day as an entrepreneur you can remember that you've ever had?
I think you have two parts. When you do I say never start car sharing concept because it's too complex. And you need a lot of money. And I had Volvo as one of my co-partners with the money. And there you have the mission to, in the beginning, every month explain no money this month too. And that's really hard. And they didn't have that, entrepreneur. Of course, we're going to have a problem for a couple of years, but they, were owned by Ford, so they had this demands all the time, expectations. So that was really hard. So every when you have 2 days left, and you have a meeting and summing up, and you have to explain each time, that was hard. So that is one part. It doesn't matter.
But how did you push through?
Crying.
Good advice.
Yeah, crying as much as possible.
That's pretty much.
You have to, which I'm hopefully good at in the beginning. First of all, to just make them visualize what's in the future. As I did with the first customers, to understand. I can't show you. You can't try it, but I want you to be a customer. Are you with me?
Right. And
how to paint that picture in the future. Why are we into this? What's in it for you? What's the benefits?
Right.
You do that with like a co-partner too.
And what do you think made you kind of be able to do that? What was behind that? Did you firmly believe it so much, or did you have to convince yourself? Or
no, I think first of all, I think I'm lucky to have a skill to paint the pictures and vision.
Right.
But in combination with totally passionate, convinced, this is it.
Right.
So I often heard when I had presentations, and I talked, for half an hour or 40 minutes, and then I got quiet, and they said, "You believe in this, don't you?" Oh yeah. They saw this, and I think that's one other part with entrepreneurs and so on, to really let go with the passion and make other people get passion too. I often try to talk to small enterprises or startups and so on. How do you make if you don't have any marketing money, how do you make your idea well known, so to speak? How can you use it? And I try to explain, for me it's good, don't sell to people, make them as passionate as you. So they will be an ambassador for you in next step.
Right.
I think that's one of the keys to success. The other part, which we go into this big decision, when you're not think you are moving forward, is what, as I told you, this support. I decided to say, if you are on this level with the business travelers, you have to have customer support 24 hours round. Because otherwise, if something doesn't work, if the food doesn't come back, you have a damage, whatever, if you have a root cause, no problem, and you have to be as close to that as possible. So I said, okay, it's not going to be customer support 8 to 5, it's going to go 24 hours, and I don't have any money, so I will be customer support. And then that was, I think, the closest part of taking me down.
Right. So you had 24/7 customer
24/7
support, and you were the hotline.
Yeah. And you didn't have any smartphones, you didn't have any laptops, and I had implemented in the system of if the person couldn't open the car by itself, I could go into the system from my computer and pinpoint and open the lockers. The problem is, no laptop, no smartphone, you have to have a stationary computer somewhere.
And a modem dial-up.
Yeah.
So how did you?
So you ended up in very crazy situations.
You had like one place that was one example.
Yeah, one example is the opera, the Gothenburg Opera. In the pause, I went into the men's toilet, and I got a customer signal. And all the guys in the customer heard somebody suddenly said, "Sunfleet, good evening. How can I help you?" And the customer said, "I can't open the car." Okay, let me check that. And I said, "I have to find a computer somewhere." Okay, the closest one is in the middle, the bar and the restaurant in the middle of in the opera. So I hanging inside there, trying to explain for these people, just handing out in the pause all this food. I need to borrow your computer and go into the system and everything like that. So I did that whole pause and I fixed it. But if you do it there, if you do it just when you start the theater, if you get a signal just when the birthday cake for your kids just coming in, people singing in the restaurant, and you get the phone. And sorry, I had to. Wherever you are, that was the hardest way because it affected the common life, the night. 3 o'clock in the night, you got a phone.
So it drained your.
It really drained. That was a hard thing. Then next time we had this professional customer support.
Right.
But that was after 2 years or something.
So how did you not go empty?
I went empty, but in some way I had a support from the family, of course, but also so convinced that this is a part of it. I have to get through because the rest is brilliant.
Right.
So you just solve this this support, then everything will go again.
Pretty much just push through.
Yeah.
Very cool. I mean, we have so many interesting more stuff to talk about, but I definitely want to make sure that we get plenty of time for the crowdsourcing interview. You gotta before we go into talk about the best day that you can imagine as an entrepreneur. One of the best days you've ever had.
If we just say for Sunfleet, one of the best days was when I received the envelope, because that's from the community, it's not by mail, it's by envelope. opened up and I got the message in writing that I had won the procurement for the city of Gothenburg. That was, a turnaround for this, small south of Borås,
Right.
2 cars there. Suddenly, the
Banned.
city of Gothenburg banned.
Super.
Yeah, and we had already in the procurement, they had written in that we start with these different kind of places for the car sites, but the vision together with me was that we open up for private customers from the city to use the same cars.
Perfect.
And I had solved that with the tax regulation and everything like that. So I realized when I won the procurement, first I will have the city working in the community, but then we will do the big vision, which are car sharing. Different people use the same car at different times of the day.
Yeah. And that was an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it is. And then when you open that, you realize how important it was. Because, okay, it doesn't matter. But when you really open it, you got the feeling, you realize this was really important. Yeah.
Super. All right. Well, maybe. Let's grab a couple of questions.
Yep.
Sounds good. All right. So we got here top ranked question of the evening is from Jesper. So Jesper, you got most votes right there. I'm going to give you this one, and you can ask your question. Okay?
I just repeating.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everybody hears, even
Okay.
the people in the back.
Yeah, how will autonomous drive, such as Volvo's driving product, affect the car sharing market when implemented?
Wow. Thank you. I take it one way now. Such as well. Okay, you mean this without the driver?
Yeah, self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars. In one way, not at all, because you need a car anyway, and you don't want to have your own car, even if you drive it or you drive it by yourself. It doesn't matter. You need an access to a car. So for me, it's not affecting the car sharing system. I think you have other system affecting that in one way, because what I talked about is you still have a lot of, even if you share cars, there are too many cars. So you have to take that away. So you have to lower the level, the amount of cars. And one step is car sharing. The next step is something totally different, which I think is more in the future of the kind of robots where you put yourself in. Like imagine a robot. You sit in the lap, and you take that out, and then you connect to like a train just going around like this, and the robots just connect and connect off, and they decide, well, I'm going there, so okay, I go off again. And for me, it's one half step, like Volvo or wherever, who is doing this with self-driving cars. It's still a big car. You have to make it small, personal. So my step is, yeah, okay, it's one step, but the real step is you put just something on where you connect from your house direct out to a system where you connect automatically.
Do you want to follow up?
Yeah, maybe.
I had this, how do you say, the vision where, like the Uber, like you have some autonomous driving cars, but actually picks you up and drives you to your work and drives back, maybe collecting the kid, driving them to school. So I basically thought that the car sharing would explode with autonomous drive. That instead of having like two cars in one family, you actually can have 2 cars in 5 families. But they're just going around collecting and maybe also going back, charging, and basically explode the car sharing market.
I can imagine that you have this, as you said, as I said when I started Sunfleet, you have to make the car sharing car as close as possible as it was your own car in terms of what do you call it? Tillgänglig. Available and so on. If you have this system, somebody picking up, doing that, you lose your availability of doing spontaneous things. Suddenly you have to do that, you pick up there. And of course you can solve that, but I think you have for like Sweden, some very developed countries, they have so much high demands of doing exactly what you want at this time, at this moment, at this second. But I can imagine that the big cities outside Europe, for instance, where a government can decide from above and say, okay, no cars by yourself. Then I think that system will work very good. And we are too spoiled up here.
If you pass, if I can borrow that from you. All right, so Jonas, where you at? Perfect.
Okay, and my question was a bit close to what you spoke about before, about the hard times as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, which of your mistakes and failures have you learned the most from looking backwards?
I think strength and almost at the same time a weakness is that, as Sam said in the beginning, I'm not strategic when I started. I ran into it. And if you're lucky, you will succeed. But you have a high risk of not doing this because you not think it through with some strategic parts like partners or employees or the financial part. But you have to understand if I'm that kind of profile, I will embrace that kind, but other people need to understand more before they go in the next. So of course, I think I had much more frustration, stop on the way because I just ran into it. So that's a dangerous part, but that's how I am. So if you make what do you call it? If you make like a business plan for car sharing, you never start it. Never.
Sounds a whole lot like lean startup about 15 years before it was called lean startup. All right. So, anonymous, who wants to claim? What's up with name? Nobody want to claim it? Okay, if nobody wants to claim this question, I will claim this question. So it's your last chance to claim it and get your real answer. Okay. No. All right. So,
Sam, I'll claim it.
Are you sure? Because I really want that. That's one. Hi. Wait. Oh yeah, you need this.
Okay, so I'm anonymous.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm not the part of this hacker team, so don't worry. What is up with name?
What is up with name? Figure it out. I don't know. Invent an answer.
Come on, you're like visionary person.
I'm not anymore. No, do you mean by name of the company or so? Is that?
I see. Yeah, that is what I want to know.
We can do this.
Yeah, we can do that. No, typical if we just take that as we imagine that is what you're asking. I had, this is always, I had another name for something in the beginning. Fleet Smart. And that is typical, entrepreneurs running into it, doesn't know anything about the rules. So Fleet Smart, good name. Let's Google, so to speak.
Alternate.
Yes, something, shouting out, no one's answer, great. No, really, I contacted Per and asked them, and they said, yeah, after one day they came back, okay, no, that's no problem. And then I make, the material, pamphlets, business card, everything. After 6 months, I suddenly got a new answer from Per. No, you can't use Fleet Smart. Why not? We realize now that Australian company owns the name for Europe. So I asked very kindly, why didn't you tell me this 6 months ago? And the answer was, we don't have time to look everywhere. And then I had the second one, that was Sunfleet. And in the beginning, everybody said, oh, this is a Spanish travel agency? No, it's not. It's car sharing. But I realized that you can almost have any name, whatever, as long as you fill it with some value, whatever it is. So don't go too much into that, perfect name. Just have a nice name and then fill it with the value.
Absolutely. Well, that is, you see, if you ask a question, not rehearsed, there is an answer, there's a value coming out of it. The time is flying, and before it's way late, this is one question that we want to make sure to talk about before we head everybody out, and that's the you had in your last role, right? You were the CEO of the Nyföretagarcentrum just the last year.
Yeah.
So if I remember the numbers right, you saw some 800 pitches. You got 350 companies was created within this organization last year.
Yeah.
And now you're no longer there, and you have your own thing you're working on for the future that is so related to the community in Gothenburg. And I would like that you take some minutes explaining it. And if there's anything we can do for you or the community can do for you, everything.
Absolutely. Great. I have to stand up now. But
Go ahead.
I'm getting passionate.
Yeah. Keep your clothes on. What the hell, Japanese tea.
No, I have in some way realized there is, last year when I was at Nyföretagarcentrum, I saw these amazing startups. But it's not these startups, where you get unicorns, move around, export. They just passion just to start their own company, whatever it is, cafe, is some consultancies, whatever. And they are very important, and they are very under the radar. After they have started, they sit often at home. The Peter is working hard to make people to come to your place. But we need to be as many as possible to try to catch all these small companies so they don't die after half a year or 1 year. But the most of the media, the big incubators, whatever, is mostly talking about the top level, the unicorns, the Spotify, everything going to be there. It's very few who will get into that nice area and get the finance and the help. But all the rest, not going through that, or are in the middle of doing some small business but want to take another small step. Or all these people just starting a company just by themselves, just to make a living, because they want to do this for themselves. I'm launching a concept where all these people, all these companies can get into a system. I will at the same time launch, because I started a spring, a food concept called Food Enjoy. It's a vision with you collect every company working within food. Food for the future, not only that food, medical food, whatever. This together, I'm today, right now, allowed to tell me that in the center of Gothenburg, you have what you call this parking area, Nordstans parkeringshus.
Yep.
Nordstan parking area.
Right.
At the top level, at level 9, it's outside the roof. It's 6,000 square meters of open space. I have now the availability and the access and authority to fill that, and I will build a showroom for this future city. With everything, it's entrepreneurship, it's the future food, it's a kitchen, sharing. There you have one of the trend for me. So many people who wants to do something within food, for example, but they can't afford to have the kitchen by themselves. So there will be a professional kitchen where you can rent by hour.
Oh, very cool.
And we have the future buildings. We will try to put there example of buildings for students.
Okay.
We will put in with Chalmers, with graphene, with nano, and everything which will be in the future, and we will have it moving around, changing all the time, and hopefully really show off at 2021.
Amazing.
So I will start today. So for me, this is a call out. I need great people with crazy ideas, with good skills, small entrepreneurs, big companies with a lot of money, whatever, because this I want to be something which will be sustainable for the.
So it's a
the city.
collaborative thing. You've signed the rights for it. You get all this stuff going on, and you need smart people.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Sounds good for Gothenburg, eh?
And I said it's not strategic. I just start to run now.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
So everybody's gonna run with you, man. Very, very nice. Well, thank you for sharing that. Right?
Yep.
Have you announced this before?
Yeah.
So that's we got world news right here in Startup, baby. All right. Appreciate that.
I had okay to go yesterday, so that's fine. You
Okay.
I
Well, there you go. Because we met before that, so that's awesome. Well, we are honored that you did that in our house.
This is the place, of course.
You got it, man. Super cool. Well, okay, so we should make sure to have a startup grind session up there above Nordstrand someday.
Yeah.
Let's get that into our calendar.
So for me, I want to just send a message, a reflection to all these great people starting with startups and so on.
Yeah.
When I did this entrance, on this, what you call it, first pilot or something, it's just to show that it's not that important to be, serious. Come on.
You have
to have fun. You have to give yourself with fun, embrace people, have meeting with new agenda.
Yeah.
Extremely important. And to one of the skills I can come back is that many people said, yeah, you can come here and explain what Sunfleet is. We don't understand anything, but you're welcome here. And I have taken that with me, because people call me and said, yeah, I think I can't explain, but could we have a lunch? And I always say yes, because you never know that idea, that person, or maybe you don't end up with that idea, but something else. But you have to embrace all these people trying to explain something new. So that's good. Just say yes all the time. Okay?
Awesome. I think that's excellent. And thank you for being so open and as Göteborg, I said that's awesome. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for Per, everybody.
You can sit down just for a minute.
Hang out with me a little bit.
Yep.
We get to relax now.
Round up. All right. We round up and thank our partners, of course. Chalmers Innovation. I know Sophia is here. Jörgen and Andre, are they still here? No. Thank you so much, Sophia. They are hosting us here, as you know, and they are also paying for the food and the beer that's coming up. So very generous of them. A quick shout out. They are becoming, together with Chalmers Incubator, Chalmers Ventures next week. So next Thursday, the 24th, they are having a release party here at 6 p.m. So if you haven't got an invite already, there will be 50 free tickets at the door. First come, first serve. So next week, here, Thursday, 6 p.m., big things are happening. Be sure to be here. All right. Also, our favorite lawyers are in the house. Andrea was brave enough to take the mic over. There you are. With your hands, both of you. All right. We use them in Startup. I use them in my startup as well. They are great and fun to work with. Sam as well. So be sure to talk to them about anything legal or illegal. So thank you very much. Philip, for filming, thank you so much. If you need anything filmed, be sure to come talk to him. Malvatten, thank you for taking the photos today. Great photo guy. If you need any photos taken, be sure to talk to him. Also, a quick shout out. I don't know if you've seen, but Sam's face been like plastered all over the coffee machine and the rooms all over. And that's because he's been nominated for Sustainable Entrepreneur of the Year by SCB. Was it SCB? Yeah. So we'll have a link up on our Facebook page and add Sam on Facebook. He will share the link as well. So be sure to
share the crap out of that.
Be sure to vote for him. So, if not for the endeavor to bring solar panels to developing countries, then do it for his beautiful smile. And if not for that, do it just to kick some Stockholm butts. Stockholm people on the list. Also, we have gotten a request from a startup guide site that wants us to write a guide about Gothenburg and its startup ecosystem. And a quick shout out, is there anyone who wants to get involved and help us with that? Ariel?
Yeah, I already talked to you.
You already talked to Jelena?
Yeah. Perfect.
Alright, anyone else? If someone would be interested, just talk to us. You will get like your name as a writer of the article on that page and the traffic from that, of course. So be sure to talk to us about that. For the first time in Startup Grind Gothenburg history, we will also manage to book our next event prior to finishing the last one. So, I want to invite you guys to our next event, which is the 22nd of October. We will meet Patrik Arnesson and Football Addicts. They made a huge journey, like 8 million downloads, I think, so far. I recently read that Canblinot bought away in the back door just to be a part of the journey, which is pretty cool. And I also heard that Patrik is a stellar quotation machine, so be sure to be there 22nd of October. Educated, inspired time to connect. If you've been a Startup Grind without meeting someone new, you failed. So take this opportunity. There are a lot of great people and beer will be served. I'm Per Lanevik. This is our Startup Grind.
All right.
Yeah.